How did this YouTube subscriber use Zillow to find and close his very first 2 deals? Stand by. Let's get it. Hello guys, this is Ty, aka the Flip Man, and today we have another one. We have a YouTube subscriber that has taken this information and ran with it. I try to encourage a lot of people out there to do free information that can change your financial situation. But we have my man from Houston, Vincent, and he hit me up a couple of weeks back on his first deal. Then he hit me up the other day on another deal that he closed. So he wants to share his story, and hopefully it can help you guys move on to some checks yourself, whatever stage of the process that you're in. Enough of me yapping. What's going on, Vincent?
What's going on, Ty?
You got it, man. You got it. You got it. So I'm glad you had the time to be able to share your story, as I said, and maybe it can help some others. So just like to start it off, man, if you just tell us, who is Vincent and how you got into business. You already know I got to do some house cleaning. Dealulator.com, aka PropStream, is where you can build your cash buyers list and find motivated sellers to close more deals. Now, it does a lot more than that, but those are 2 of the highlights. You can get a free 5-day trial to test it out. Before you do that, make sure you watch all of the videos right there on Dealulator.com to show you the tool that will help you close more deals. Not going to do deals for you, but it definitely will make it easier to find and close more deals. That's Dealulator.com. Take advantage of the 5-day free trial. If you want to stand out from the competition, get more motivated sellers to call you and stop leaving money on the table, as I have done for months. Mail2flip.com. This is simply where you will take advantage of a photo, getting the seller's attention of their actual property through postcards. So again, Mail2flip.com. If you like podcasts like I do, get over to flipmanpodcast.com, where you can listen to my videos in audio format on Apple and Android devices. That's flipmanpodcast.com. Before we get back to regular programming, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notifications bell so you are alerted whenever I go live and whenever I upload new videos to my YouTube channel. So back to regular programming.
Basically, from Jackson, Mississippi, a little small town. A lot of people, we know about it. Just a small town, and basically just started, reading a lot of books early on. I had a father that was interested. He was into real estate, but by the time I got to a certain age, he had passed away. So I didn't get a chance to ask him all the questions as far as real estate goes. But found your videos, I want to say about 2 years ago. And from then on, I was just intrigued with wholesaling.
Okay. All right. So you've actually been interested in real estate or whatever. And I think you said you're from Jackson, but you live in Houston now, though, right?
Yeah, I'm in Houston right now.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you say you found me 2 years ago. What did you do in that time frame up until a couple of weeks ago that you sent me over pictures of those checks? What were you doing before?
I used to be a full-time teacher and high school basketball coach.
Okay.
And yeah, that was my main 9-to-5 job.
All right. Well, in Mississippi or in Houston or both?
I did in both states. I did in Mississippi and I did it in Houston.
Okay. All right. Okay. So in that 2-year time frame, what were you doing? Just educating yourself, or you were trying some things, or what?
You know what? I was educating myself. I watched all your videos. I was reading books. And then I did the bandit signs on another little side business I had started. And it took off on that one. No problem at all. And during that whole time, I was messing with the real estate a little bit, but I was putting out a couple bandit signs here and there, but I wasn't being consistent. It was when I got back from getting married in July that I put everything else down and just went hard in the paint on the bandit signs and the cold calling. That's when I got my first deal.
Okay. All right. So that sort of explains your timeline within that 2 years or after you actually discover wholesaling or whatever. So let's discuss whenever you put out your bandit signs, how many did you put out initially?
Initially, when I think I was ordering 100 at a time, so I would say I was probably putting out about 200 a month.
Okay, all right. Okay, so on that first, I know you sent me a check. The first check you sent me, and then the second one. That first check, that was your very first deal?
Yeah, that was my very first deal that closed on September the 10th.
Okay, so that was the $2,500 check.
Correct.
And then you sent me one for $8,500, which that totals $11,000 if my math is correct. So, all right, on that first deal, let's get into how that came about as far as the conversation with the seller, whatever, and that process. We'll get into the numbers on what made sense for you as far as it being a deal or not.
All right. So the first deal, it came just like watching from your videos. You said call for sale by owners on Zillow. So I called either Zillow or Trulia, and I just was calling, I want to say about no more than 4 or 5 people a day. Just like you say, I'm an introvert as well. So the cold calling, I made the calls. And got one lady on the phone, and she said that she had a piece of property that she was trying to sell. And from the conversation that I had with her, she didn't sound like a regular for sale by owner, just a regular Joe Blow selling their property. She sounded more like an investor, or she sounded like a realtor. So during the conversation that we had, I kind of picked up that she was something else, and I asked her, I told her, I said, well, if I can bring you a buyer, what can be my fee? During this time, I'm still trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Okay.
So she told me basically if I could bring her a buyer, then she would pay me at least $2,500 on the not assignment fee. She called it I'm not sure what type of fee she called it. She called it some type of
you say a marketing fee or
marketing fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So you were just taking action. That's what I sort of try to convey to people. Doing nothing, we know you won't get anything, but doing something, you may even stumble into a deal, which it sounds like that's what you did. So you were just straight up front with the, hey, I may can find a buyer for you. So was this the property you say you found on this was on Zillow or Trillo?
Yeah.
Zillow or Trulia?
Mm-hmm. This was the property I found on there.
Okay, so was the property that she wanted you to find a buyer for, was it the property that was being advertised?
No, I was actually calling another ad that she had on there, and we started talking about that property. But I remember you saying, make sure you ask them if they have any other property that they want to sell. And she did. And she started telling me about that property, and that price range that she gave me, I figured that was something I could work with in the beginning, since this was my beginning, piece of property.
Okay, so what were the numbers on it? What was she trying to sell it for, and what did you determine the ARV was?
All right, she told me that she wanted initially $30,000 for the property. She told me the ARV was around 110, and she told me that the repairs were around $30,000.
Okay, all right, those just off the top of my head seem like those numbers work. Okay, so you all didn't do any paperwork or anything. This was all just verbal that she was just going to pay you?
Initially, before I was trying to lock her up for $33,000 initially, before I kind of found out that she was just an investor. Okay. But when she told me about the $2,500 non-refundable deposit that I had to put down, that kind of made me backtrack out of it all completely. But I thought about it right there. I said, well, once we started talking more and more, I told her that I'll bring the buyer in and have him put down the $2,500 non-refundable, and I can get paid out of that.
Okay. All right. So you all had that verbal agreement, I guess. And so what did you do to locate a buyer for that property? All right. So what did you do to try to locate a buyer?
All right. So before I had even gotten the deal, Ty, I had been driving around to different parts of the city collecting like the We Buy Houses signs, phone numbers. And by the time I got to this deal, I think I was sitting on 121 phone numbers.
Oh, wow.
So I knew you said it takes one buyer to buy the deal. So I knew that, I should be able to find somebody within this 121 phone numbers.
Okay. So you just started calling down your list, or did you send text messages, or what did you do?
I was calling down my list. I was sending out text messages. I was sending out the pictures that she gave me as well. And initially they started calling me back.
Did you ever view the house yourself?
You know what, Ty? I actually, before, I had not viewed the house. During the time of the deal, after we got it locked up with the cash buyer, it had title issues. So during that time, I was like, man, let me just go view the house. I'm just 30 minutes away.
Okay. All right. So so once you viewed the house, did you take any pictures, video, anything, or you just viewed it and just went on the pictures that she sent you?
Yeah, I went inside the house. I took some outside pictures inside, but pretty much she had the best pictures, because when I went inside the house, I didn't go past the front door because it was like, hey, somebody can grab you or anything. It was, not livable at all.
Well, also the house was in that type of shape. So what type of neighborhood was it? A D as in dog, C, or B as in boy type?
I would say D plus to C minus.
Okay. All right. So yeah, blue collar hood. Okay. All right. So so you called down your list. So who stepped forward?
I had a local investor in Houston. He stepped forward. Actually, had 3 to give me an offer.
Okay.
I had one around. No, I'll take that back. I probably had like 5 offers. Low ball 5 to 10 to 25. Then they started coming up to 27, 27, and then his was the 30.
Okay. All right. Okay. So someone offered 30. All right. And so once that occurred, what, you just put them in contact with the owner because you didn't, this really was a bird dog type situation. But you just put them in.
I was listening to what you said. You said you want to keep everybody separated, so that this way, in case I needed another deal, they would have to come back through me. So what I did was I told him on the phone. I said, hey, I have a business partner that bought a piece of property at auction last year. She's trying to liquidate and get rid of. And he initially told me, he was like, well, I can give you $30,000 for the property. And what I did was, knowing that I got all those other lowball offers, I went ahead and told him I'll call him back in 5 minutes. I called her back, let her know what the price was that I got, because we had already discussed the assignment fee. So I knew I was going to get $2,500 regardless of the fact. And I wasn't getting above that 30. So that's why I took the 30 price. When I called him back, he told me, does this 30,000 include everything, my fee as well? And I told him yes.
Okay.
So
what about closing costs? Who was going to handle that?
Well, I told him everything with closing costs would be on him. Okay.
All right. So what happened after that? So as far as the contract or whatever, who submitted the contract to him, or how did that situation go?
All right. So Todd, I text you during this situation. I know I did. I tried to use the 1-page contract with her.
She wasn't going to use that. If
she wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
She would not use it.
Yeah, she's an agent. She's not going to use that.
And you know what? She's actually not even an agent. She is. Right. Yeah, I found out after the deal, talking to her, she's not even an agent. Her husband was an agent, and she was helping him. So that's why she still
wasn't going to use it.
Yes.
Yeah. They're not going to use my contract. But they only can use, I ain't gonna say only, but they're only going to use is the approved contract by the board of realtors for whatever state or market that you're in.
Exactly.
All right, but go ahead though. So what happened with that?
So now I actually, Ty, I had to use their standard contract. So what I did was I took those provisions that those contingencies that you talked about from your one-page contract.
Yeah.
I put those into the special provisions box on the state contract with the earnest money deposit, sole remedy, and other contingencies.
Correct.
That this way here would cover me just in case something happened. But I remember you saying that not to allow the cash buyer to have too long of an inspection period to be able to pull out of it.
Exactly.
So I didn't put any inspection period on there at all.
Okay. All right. So you got the contract with the seller, and then what did you do after that with the buyer as far as your contract?
Well, his first deal, I didn't even have assignment contracts. He had an assignment contract.
Okay.
So I used his assignment contract.
All right. So did you do the contract with the seller for $27,500 and the $2,500 assignment, or how did you handle that since she was?
I did. Initially, I messed up the contract and I did the contract at 30. But when I sent it to him, he told me no, that was incorrect, and to go ahead and to amend that back to $27,500 and do the assignment contract at $2,500 to him.
Okay. All right. Okay. So really, she didn't pay the $2,500. He paid it.
He paid.
Yeah, even though that was you all's original agreement or whatever, but she took a $2,500 hit. She really paid it, but she really didn't pay it. Because the assignment has to go from you to it's supposed to go from you to the buyer because you are assigning your position or your interest over to the buyer or whatever. Right. So, all right. So once you have both of those in place, so it's time to set up closing. So whose closing attorney or title company did you all use?
We used his. He already had everything in place. He sent both of the contracts over there to his title company, and then the title company got in touch with me, and pretty much that's how it went during the whole process, because they were calling me back and forth and I was talking to them, and they were the ones telling me about the different issues that were going on with the title during the whole time.
So how long did from the date that you all agreed to do this deal to the date that you picked up the check, how long did it take?
I want to say it had been about close to 40 days.
Okay. Because of all the title issues?
Yeah, because of the title issues.
Okay.
The title issues, and he was late getting his survey. He was supposed to get his survey early on in the contract, but he waited so long. I want to say like a couple of days before we were supposed to close to get his survey. That's what extended the time.
Okay. So now you got everything. The title comes, say we're good to go. So what was closing, the date of closing like?
The day of closing, it was to me, I was just nervous on pins and needles, but it was smooth, Ty. Pretty much I went and was just doing a little side business stuff, and the lady gave me a call at 2:30 and she said, "Hey, your check is ready to be picked up." So on my way there, I was still not thinking it was real, kind of in a euphoric type of moment. And then when I went in to pick the check up, the young lady, I said, "My name is, Vincent, I'm ready to pick up my check." She handed me my check. And I was like, man, it was unreal. When I say it was unreal, Ty, I was like, I stressed more than it was hard, like that.
Yeah. And you're like me. It was $2,500, which that's not nothing to sneeze at, right? But, you hear these stories with some of the other stuff, and all that. But the point is that $2,500 shows that it works.
Exactly.
You can't put a value on that. We're going to get into the bigger deal that you did, but you can't put a value on you like, man, that guy might know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So that's the way it felt for me, which it took me a month to make $2,500 at the job I had at the time when I first got started. But because I had failed at so many other businesses, it could have been $250. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just saw that it worked. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You know, like, man, you know, I don't want to say it's easy. I don't want to miss it up, but it really was easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't, you know, it was just so simple. Once you got that great deal, you got a cash buyer, and outside of a title being messed up, which you did have a few title issues, you know, it's just like that, you know. So, all right, so we got that check. What did you do? You know, since you saw that it works now, you got 2,500 big ones. Your wife probably, you know, hey, this ain't working. You know what I'm saying? Well, what did she think?
Ty, all right, I'm not even gonna try to backtrack. Before I even got this deal, Ty, I was at the point I told my wife, say, look, I got 5,000 upstairs. I'm finna call Ty and see if Ty can come over here and stay all the way over here until I can get this first deal. I was at that point. I'm dead serious.
Oh wow!
She told me, she said, look, she said, you gonna get your first deal, keep pushing.
Okay,
So you can hate on her, Ty, because I had 5 G's ready for you already.
Yeah, so she was encouraging. She was encouraging.
Yeah,
okay, good. That ain't always the case, man. On both sides, husband or wife, that ain't always the case. And some of you know, you don't know the background of their relationship or whatever. That ain't always the case. So, all right, so we got that deal. Cash took your wife out to a dinner or something, I'm sure, to celebrate. All right, let's move on to the deal where you made the 8,500. Where did that lead come from?
All right, cool. This one just got set up. I just initially made the cold call on 10/24, October 24th. All right. And this was another cold call to Trulia. I saw that the house had been on there, I want to say no more than 2 to 5 days.
Okay.
So I just did my little.
This was a for sale by owner.
For sale by owner, yes.
Okay. All right.
For sale by owner, call her, did the little spiel, you know, where we asking about, you know, our common questions and the repairs and everything. During the time that I was on the phone, I just asked her, you know, what's the least amount that you'll take minus not paying the real estate commissions, and I'll pay all the closing costs. So, and she told me 65,000. All right. I'm looking at the house and I know the neighborhood. The neighborhood, again, we're in the hood now. This is Houston hood. So this is like a D area. But on this side of town, the investors are trying to rehab and get all the properties back. And I knew that already.
All right. So she was asking 65. What was the ARV though?
The ARV, I miscalculated, Ty. I said the ARV was 90,000. Okay. At the end of the deal, the ARV wound up to be 110, 120.
Okay. So okay. All right. So this was another cold call off chill. Okay. Now that's Gator. You got my mind spinning, because even though I preach it, sometimes I don't do it as much as I should be doing it, but. All right, so you called her. This was the actual owner. You wasn't really an investor or anything, just a regular salary owner or whatever. So what did you do after you got you said 65,000, right?
65,000 over the phone. That's what she told me.
Okay, so what did you do next?
All right, so after I did my calculations with my ARV and everything, my maximum allowed offer was around 51 to 52. But I remember you said, from 52 to 65, that's not a big jump. You know, we're close.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking to myself, if I'm that close, I need to go ahead and go see the house. Yeah. I told her initially on the phone, I was like, asked her, did she have any more pictures? Because there were none online. And she was like, she was going to take some and send some to me. But she never got around that. She never got around that. And so I was thinking to myself, you know what? Let me call her back before another investor jumps in between and tries to go over and look at the house. So I set the appointment up for the following day.
Okay, so you set up the time to go take a look at it. So how did that go? Okay,
so I set up for the following day. Went over there. Like I say, it's in the hood. Actually, I was sitting out there, and as I was sitting out there, you know, the fellas in the neighborhood will wonder, you know, why I'm just sitting over here chilling. So I had to let them know, you know, I'm over here trying to get these houses. I'm not trying to mess up y'all's business.
Wow. Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah. So yeah. So as I went in the house, as soon as I stepped foot in the house, Ty, don't want to be in this house. It was like a you know what I'm saying, like a living with the animals type of situation. You understand what I'm saying?
So,
Yeah. So
I'm assuming she let you in, right?
yeah, she let me in. She
Okay.
let me in.
All right, go ahead.
So as we went in the house, I looked around. She let me go in the east room. I asked her, can I take pictures of the house? She said yes.
Video,
and,
man, video. You gotta start doing video. Upload to YouTube. Make it easy for your buyers to see what you got. But go ahead, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was trying to, you know, with everything was going around in my head. So I was like, you know what, let me make sure I get as many pictures. The pictures, I could get some stuff, but it was so much stuff in there that was around what I really needed to get through. The pictures weren't that clear. You understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
So after I took all the pictures, we were kind of standing and talking, and I let her know. I said, you know, I know on the phone you were at 65,000 on the phone, but as I got a chance to assess all the repairs in the house, it looks like I'm more in the, you know, $50,000 range. And she kind of sat back and looked, and she was like, you know what? And she was like, kind of shook her head. She was like, you know, if you can do 55, we got a deal. Okay. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not even gonna try to haggle back and forth with her. I think I can make that 55 work. Okay. So I told her, I said, yeah, I said I can do 55,000. She was like, okay. So I already had your one-page contract in the car on deck. Went out to the car, sat, wrote it in there, put that $10 earnest money in there on that line. Came back in, she was standing. I think I went through the contract. I don't even think she really was paying that much attention. She just signed her name. And what I told her was, I said, okay. I said, she told me initially on the phone that she wanted to be out of the house in 2 weeks. I said, so if I can get you a deal in 2 weeks and get your cash, you're ready to leave. She was like, yeah. I said, you know what? I'm not going to promise you 2 weeks. I said, let me give you, I said, 30 days. I said, no problem. I said, I don't want to overpromise I don't want to overpromise you something not deliver. I said, but if you give me 30 days, I will make sure I handle it.
Yeah, the way you answered that, they say, "Wow, you say you're paying cash? Why? I'd rather have more time than not enough."
Okay.
You know, that's the way you answer that. You know, either they gonna do it or they ain't. You know, most won't, but enough will. But go ahead though. So she signed the agreement. She agreed to the time frame. So did she give you access to the property? She didn't live there, did she?
Yeah, she lived there, Ty.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, she lived there. So now this is a part of the game that I was learning. The next part was a part that I had to come up with. You know, I was watching all your videos and I got some hints and points on. So after I got the contract signed, I went back home with my pictures. And initially, like I told you in my first deal, I was at 122 buyers. Now I had collected like 150 buyers. Okay. So what I did was I just started going backwards on my list. And I called this one, I want to say I went through about 41 investors so far. But what I told them, I said, okay, if you want to come view this property, you have one inspection day, but you must have your general contractor with you to be able to assess the repairs to get all the information you need, because we don't need to be going in and out this lady's house multiple times. Mm-hmm. So I got a couple of investors to go ahead and confirm their date and time with me that they would want to view the house along with their investors. So I had 4 investors lined up on a Monday to come view the house. Okay, so you told them you just straight up with them that it's occupied and there are going to be multiple investors probably interested in it. I'm not going to go through all this. So you had everybody to say, hey, we're going to all come on Monday. Yes. I had different ones that want to set up different times, but I was trying to get the most I could in on that Monday. And if I needed to carry on, then I would. Okay. All right. Well, just to even though I made a little joke of it earlier about the video, that's one of the reasons, just to add a little nugget here for people. That's why I preach the video. Everybody has a smartphone. You know what I'm saying? You don't probably know anyone else. My mama, well, she didn't, but my stepdad does. But everybody has a smartphone. You don't even probably know how to use it.
And the reason you do video, pictures are okay, but the technology is there to, and especially in that situation, because everybody looking for vacant houses. If you're in this business, you're going to do houses where somebody's living there, whether it's a renter, a relative, or the person that actually owns it. That's just the business. A deal is a deal. None matters if it's vacant or not. We target vacants because it makes it easier, but you don't want to leave occupied houses off the table or whatever. But the reason you shoot that video is now it makes it a lot easier to market the property, and guys can see what you see. Right now, the people that are going to want to buy it, they're still going to want to physically go see it. But a lot of guys, after they see the video, either they're going to be either more strongly wanting to look at it, you know what I'm saying? They know what your price is, or it's off the table for them altogether. So that saves you a lot of time and them, and in this situation, the seller, because they still live there. Okay, so the Monday arrived, and what happened then?
All right. So, like I said, I had 4 investors set up. I had one at 11, I had another one at 12, and another one at 1, and another one at 2. All right. So I initially got there at 11, and that first investor that came in, like I said, he came in, he took all his assessments and repairs and everything, and we did that process with a total of 3 more. The first investor, he wanted to come back one more time with another one of his partners at 2 o'clock. So I allowed that. During the time that I had those 4 investors come through, 2 of them gave me offers. The first one gave me an offer of, I think it was $62,000, but he only wanted to put up $500 earnest money, and it was a longer time of closing. I had initially accepted his offer of that 62. So what was crazy, he told me that he was going to send me over the paperwork at 5 o'clock that evening. So 5 o'clock came that evening. He had not sent back the paperwork to me. And then that morning he contacted me, said he was about to forward me the contracts. So during that time, he still had not contacted me back. So later that evening, sitting down talking to my wife, I get a call from the first investor who came in the first time and came back additionally the second time with another one of his either investors or partner or general contractor, I'm not sure. So I think he was trying to see whether or not I would throw a number out when he called me. So he was telling me, he was really not interested in the property. It needed more damages, more repairs than I initially said. And I was like, okay, no problem at all. I said, tell you what, since you're not interested in this property, I said, I think that I have something coming up in a couple more weeks in the same neighborhood. He was like, yeah, give me a call. I was like, great. All right, talk to you later. So I hung up the phone. Walking downstairs, talking to my wife, I said, well, no. I said, I got one offer. Next thing I know, the phone rings. It's him again.
Mm-hmm.
He said, he was like, okay. He said, you know what? He's like, Vince, I want to get you what you want. He said, can you take 63.5? I said, how quickly can you?
What were you advertising? I forgot to ask you. What were you advertising at?
I was advertised for $65,000.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
65. So he called me back. He said, can you take 63.5? And I thought about it. I said, how quickly can you close? He said, I can close in about 10 days. I said, can you put down the $1,500 earnest money deposit? He said, I try not to put a lot of cash out there. He said, but I'll put it up. I said, you know what? This is our first time doing business. I said, if you could put up the $1,500 in the escrow and just we'll, hold it there until everything gets processed and the title gets clear. I said, that'll work for me. He was like, fine. So he went ahead the next day, sent the check up there to the title company. They sent me back the copy of the check with the earnest money receipt, and we were good to go. Because he actually, that same day, sent over an assignment contract as well. And I went ahead and, filled it out, looked at it, and sent it back.
Oh, okay, so you had the seller's contract, my one page, and then he actually sent you over an assignment contract.
Yeah, I had a question about that because I wanted to do the contract A and the contract B, but I didn't know whether or not they were going to either charge me for a double closing or would they just do the assignment. But I had your title closing instructions. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's just still one transaction. The reason that I use this is where I was taught, this is where I teach it. The reason I use two contracts, actual two purchase and sales agreement with the seller and the buyer, is that I don't want my buyer knowingly negotiating my fee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you promoted a price versus an assignment fee, which is the same thing, but and they're going to eventually know. But the thing is, I don't want them knowingly negotiating with you. Like you put $65,000 out there instead of a $10,000 assignment fee. So it's really the same thing. It's just that whenever he sent you over the assignment contract, I'm assuming it was blank or whatever as far as the amount that he was going to pay you. You filled it in, or did you let him know how much it was?
No, he on his contract, his assignment contract was vastly different from my first deal. On his, he had a line in there that said the assignment fee will be the difference between the purchase price and I think the assignment contract. That would be something like that.
Yeah, basically, I get the verbiage you're saying. Well, that's pretty tight. So he's basically saying from the actual purchase and sales agreement with the seller, the assignment fee will be the difference. Which is the same thing. So you didn't have to include them, and you just had to agree to the terms and sign it. All right. Exactly. So once you got everything, and you got both contracts in place, the purchase sales agreement and the sign, you got the earnest money up there, you got proof of that. So this one went pretty smoothly as far as within that 10 days?
Yeah, this one went pretty smoothly. But along the way, when I was calling, my buyers before I found him, Ty, I was just letting, all the newbies and everybody know, look, I had some haters along the way, Ty. I had people telling me, hey, we had got that property under contract and you're not going to be able to get it closed. It has too many liens on there. I had another one tell me, you're not going to get that price and blah, blah, blah. And so if I had just listened.
Who was telling you this?
You know how you collect people from my buyers list? I had collected phone numbers.
So they were if some of the guys you were talking to, they were familiar with the property.
Yeah, they were acting like they were familiar with it. Yep.
Okay. So anyway, well, whenever they pull a title, were there any issues?
No. They pulled the same lien that I found. She had a mortgage of $42,000.
Okay. All right. That's it. That's normal. Okay. So when closing day comes, how did that go down with this one?
Closing day, no problems. Like I said, I talked to the escrow lady earlier. I had sent in all the paperwork along with your closing instructions. She reached back to me. She told me she had all my information, all my contact. She told me that the buyer will be coming in at 12:30 to fund the deal. The seller should be coming at 2:30. And she said I should be able to pick up my check by 3:30. I was actually in the area ahead of time. She sent me an email. She said, we just got finished funding the deal and you can come pick up your check. I actually came, pick my check up, and they were bringing it to the front room. So I was ahead of time.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's what's up. All right. So you got that 8,500. So both of these deals. So one of them was on, what was the date on the first one?
The first one was September the 10th.
And then you closed the other one?
On 11/5. Was it last Monday?
Yeah, so within those 2 months, so basically 11 grand. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what's up. All right. So
Ty, I gotta hold these checks up. I gotta hold it up.
Oh yeah, if you got them, yeah, hold them up, man. Hold your comments up, man. Yeah.
I gotta show that paper, man.
All right. Yeah, I'll probably edit and put the ones that you sent over to. I'll scratch out the important info. So yeah, man, that's what's up. So what's next? What's next for Vincent?
Oh man, I'm talking to people every day. I'm cold calling every day. I just ordered another, I think 100 signs. I was supposed to pick them up on the way back to this interview, so I picked those up tomorrow. Okay. Looking on that county assessor's office for people who might be behind in those taxes and stuff like that. Send them some direct mail.
All right. Okay. Well, that's what's up, man. Those are two interesting deals, man. You out there grinding that, like you're doing cold calling people, and hey, that don't cost you anything. But what we all have a lot of in most cases is time, and at the same time, it's the most valuable thing about it if you're using it the way you can possibly using to generate some income. Zillow, my man found these deals on Zillow and Trulia. Hey, that's that's the business or
Ty,
whatever. How many calls? You say you just make 4 or 5 a day, so that turns into anywhere from what is it, 30 days, 120 to possibly 150 calls a month. That'll turn into a deal normal.
I found my buyer from there too.
Oh wow, yeah, oh wow, yeah.
You see, it called the forensic section, and he was one of the people who I contacted on the forensic side. I remember.
Okay, boom, there it is. So for sale by owner, Zillow, Trulia, what other sites we got out there? HomeSnap, which a lot of them gonna be the same, but homes.com, realtor.com may not be in it for sale by owner realtor. But any of those free sites, then you call the for rent section, you may find a tired landlord. So that doesn't cost you anything to do that, nothing. So again, no excuse. We already know there's no excuses or whatever. But so there it is, man. I really appreciate you reaching out to us and sharing your journey to some paydays. Is there anything you want to add before we end this?
Ty, I just want to tell you, man, I know I text you, probably words you to death, you know, it's a couple times, but look, we appreciate you. My family appreciates you, bro. Everybody who I've come in contact with, I let them, you know what I'm saying, I forwarded the videos, and they asked me 1,000 questions. I said, look, I can't give up my time, but you can watch these 200 free videos. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I just want to give you a shout out again. Hey, y'all, you can make it happen. You just got to grind it out and go ahead and take action every day.
Oh yeah, that's it, man. Taking action. He set a small goal, 4 or 5 calls per day to either for sale by owner or for rent signs that are listed online. You just gonna stumble into a deal. It may take you 2 months, 3 months, but that may mean 11, 10. You know, who knows what that may mean? That payday may mean. So again, man, I really appreciate your time. And guys, just take action. Take advantage of the free videos. I put them out there. It's me spilling my guts. People like Vincent come here and share their journey. All of them are different or whatever, and it's real. It is real. It can change your financial situation. Money don't make you happy by no means or whatever, but ironically, it deals with everything. So you make your own judgment on that. So, and everybody's financial situation is different. We're just trying to just improve each other's life, improve each other's family lives. So, again, man, thank you for sharing your story with us. And as I always say, guys, we'll see you on the flip side.